Black like me. Black like me. Black like me.
You're listening to Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G., a podcast that invites you to experience the world through the perspective of one black man, one conversation, one story, or even one rant at a time. Here's Dr. G.
Hey, good people. I want to welcome you back to another exciting episode of Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G. Now, week after week, I keep telling you all, I'm going to bring you exciting and scintillating stories about folks exuding Black excellence all over this country. And this week's guest is not going to disappoint. She's actually one of the youngest guests that I've had on in a while, and she is Miss Bridgette Craighead. Now, she hails from Virginia, and she's shaking things up out there. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Now, she first came into some national attention because she is the creator of the Black Lives Matter branch in her hometown. And she did that in response to George Floyd's murder. She is running against the incumbent in the Virginia House of Delegates. And listen, let me tell you, this local cosmetologist she can do more than French braids and twists and cornrows. She's about to make history in the state of Virginia. Regardless of how the election goes, she is a history maker. I know that was a mouthful. You're going to be able to hear me talk with her a little bit, but Miss Craighead, welcome to Black Like Me podcast. I am so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor. I'm excited.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh my, it's just beautiful to have been able to read about you and then now having you here in the studios. So I'm just excited. Listen, we're going to get into all of your exciting stuff. But one of the things I do each week on Black Like Me is I have a small segment that's called Black Icebreaker. Now, you're from Virginia, so you don't know nothing about no ice. But we get covered in ice here in Wisconsin for about 5 months out of the year. And so these are just fun black ice icebreakers.
Okay.
Now, you're a Southern lady. I should even know that. I don't even have to ask this, but I will. Grits or cream of wheat?
Oh God, grits.
Oh,
grits with butter and sugar. I need grits with butter and sugar.
And sugar. Eli, did you hear that? She likes sugar too. This is
gotta have sugar in my grits.
This episode. You gotta have sugar. My wife's from Alabama, so she puts butter and salt on hers. And so we've been fighting over my daughter for 24 years. Baby, put a little salt on it. Baby, put a little sugar on it. So we've been going back and forth. But in Chicago, we ate it with sugar.
But you know what? Y'all can come to a compromise and put a little bit of salt and put a little bit of sugar, a little bit of butter. Try it.
Okay, you know what? And that's what I'm starting to do because the salt kicks up the sugar. It kicks up the sugar a little bit. Actually, I made some. I made some yesterday. Now, with these black ice questions, let me tell you why I love them, because they show the strength of Black culture. One of my mentors is a African American woman who is a history professor. And she said slavery did not destroy Black people because it did not destroy our culture. The fact that we created food and music and sound and joy and laughter, it means that we were not destroyed. And so I love seeing that people who grew up on the East Coast or in the Midwest like myself, or even from the West Coast, it's funny how we have some of the same answers to these things, that it just keeps reinforcing the strength and the beauty of Black culture. But what I'm realizing is some of these things are from my generation. I'm 57, so some of these things may not necessarily.
You look good, Dr. G. You look good.
Thank you. So let me ask you this. Growing up, did you get syllable spankings? Like when your parents say, "Didn't I tell you not?"
Honey, did not tell you.
Did they talk to you while they did it? Did they talk about it?
To me, I do it now to my son. We was conditioned that way, so you know.
I was going to ask you, your son is it Bryson? Bryson. What's your son's first name?
Bronson.
So that cute little boy don't get Bronson. That little cute boy don't get syllable spankings, does he? You got to train him. Listen, that's
okay.
Right.
Okay.
Listen,
we're doing better.
No, but listen, I got syllable spankings, and sometimes my mama didn't say nothing. All I heard was pew, pew, listen, I turned out all right. Listen,
It'd be
now,
like
this may not relate to you or your family, but if you grew up like going to church regularly, did you ever hold up your finger in church?
Oh yes.
The index finger on your right hand. And when did you, so funny when people listen to this, because my white listeners who go to church, they're like, what? So Miss Craighead, when do you raise your finger? When do you raise your index finger in church?
When I'm going to go get some water, when I'm going to the bathroom, or when I got to take
Whenever
my
you
son
move.
outside. Anytime you move, you have to, especially if the pastor is speaking, you have to do that. If you do that, that's just blatantly disrespectful, and they're gonna look at you funny.
Right.
Like,
But
what
if you
is
put
she
that
doing?
finger up, it's almost like you invisible.
Out.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Couple of more. Did you have play cousins growing up that you didn't realize were not cousins until you became grown? Were there play people who you just thought were your cousin?
No, sir. Everybody around me is my cousin. We're cousins.
No, they're
here in
real.
Rocky
They're
Mount.
real
Yeah,
cousins.
they were
Oh,
real
my.
cousins. You gotta be careful. Okay.
You gotta be. That's right.
You
That's right.
You have to be careful. You can't date too many people. Like, hold on.
No, you gotta
Who's
be
your
very
grandma?
careful.
Who's your
Like, you from
daddy?
the West?
Who's your
Yeah,
great?
you from the West Coast? You can take me out. If you from the East Coast anywhere, you look familiar.
Period.
No.
Yeah.
Now you seem like you got an old soul. Did you ever hear the old folks talk about what it meant if somebody dreamed about fish?
Yes, you. Somebody's pregnant.
Now listen, I don't care where black folks are from. They can be from Georgia, Virginia, Chicago, Alabama, Oklahoma, California. We say the same. How did black
Somebody's
people? There was no
pregnant.
social media. Somebody's pregnant. oh my
It's
goodness!
funny that you said that.
You.
No, it's funny that you said that because that recently just happened to me. Somebody said they dreamt about fishes, fish? And one of our friends is pregnant, so it's funny.
See, that's they will do, and they will mean it. You'll be eating. In fact, I think in the movie Soul Food, the grandmother figure said, "I dreamed about fish last night." When they say that, it gets quiet because that's not funny. Because then people start looking and pointing at everybody like it's you. It's you. Like it ain't me.
And you get mad too. Like, don't put that on me.
You get mad. Don't put that on me. Like the dream is calling somebody out. My last question. Did you have to do special things during a thunder or lightning storm? Some people grew up around elders who
you don't do nothing at all.
Get lightning. Nothing. What happens? What happened in your house when it was thundered?
Oh, my grandma tell me in a minute, girl, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Unplug everything. We sat in the living room and we just listened. That's it. You better not say anything.
I'm telling you, dude, and some people would cover the windows, cover mirrors. Don't talk on the telephone. You better not be in the bathtub.
Yeah. Don't talk on the telephone. Don't no water in the while you have your phone in your hand. You just literally staying in the living room being quiet. You be
God's
quiet
talking.
until
God
the storm
is doing
passes.
something.
That part. And then look, hold on, wait a minute. What does it mean when it's raining and the sun is shining? What does that mean?
It means the devil is beating his wife. No, wait, hold on, wait. We're not laughing at white beating though, people. We ain't laughing at white beating, but they would say that the devil. Last night I went to pick up some food. The moon was out and it started raining. And I said, now wait, if the devil beating his wife while the sun is shining in his rain, what is that scoundbugger doing when the moon is out and it's raining? Because it wasn't completely cloudy.
No.
I'm telling you, people, I don't even know what that means. And folks would say that the devil was beating his wife if the sun is shining and it's raining at the same time.
Yeah,
well, that was funny. I love the way you turned the black icebreaker back on me. I love that. I love it.
I mean,
you know what? I'm gonna
like you just said. I want to see how other black people, we did
it too.
Right.
We did and said it too. But I think, again, what's so beautiful about that, Miss Craighead, is there's strength in our community that we got to recognize. Because how do we know this? Does this go back to West Africa? And how did the ancestors say it to people in a way that the folks who stayed in Virginia, the ones from Mississippi and Alabama who followed the Mississippi River up north and landed in places like Chicago and Wisconsin and Minnesota, and those in California, how did we hear the same thing? Like, how did black people cross? Like, I was watching some crazy cartoon with my daughter last night. She loves Bob's Burgers. And so we were watching this. And in one of the scenes, the dad said, "Oh, I'm choking on the fish bone." And I just thought quickly, you better go get some white bread, because that's what old folks used to do if you got a fish bone in your throat. They would go get that old gummy Wonder Bread, because it was so dense that if you give them that, it seemed like I thought about vinegar too. I don't know if they put a vinegar, but when you swallow it, it would just clear the fish bone. But I talked to people in my age group all across the country who said, that's what Big Mama said. If you get a fish bone in your throat, eat some white bread. And so I don't know how we teach these things, and it gets
I
all
never heard
across the
that.
country. Like,
You got me on
you know,
that one.
let's try that just in case Bronson likes fish. I'm telling you, it gets some little catfish bones out your throat.
Oh,
Get
well, I
some
got
white
this little
Wonder
finger
Bread.
hook.
That's how you go get.
Yeah.
You ready? You are ready. Listen, I enjoyed that. I want to jump into what's giving you some national attention.
Okay.
I know that you have a major election coming up for the Virginia House of Delegates. Folks, we're going to have a link in the notes so that you can follow this incredible young lady's political career if you want to be supportive of it. All of that information is going to be in the box, in our notes a little bit, in just a little bit. And so I just want to there's so many things I want to jump around. So I've got so many questions. So please don't feel like you got to answer for a long time on any of them, because I want to jump to a number of them. But I do want to say, I just want to ask, is 1111 Beauty Shop still open? Because that's the name of your beauty shop, right?
Yes.
I know
1111
you're
Beauty
campaigning,
Lounge.
seriously.
Yeah,
That's right. And so are you still able to run that while you campaign?
I am. I'm a full-time
Wow.
stylist. This is how I make my bread and butter. This is how I feed my son. So yeah, I have to work every day, Tuesday through Saturday. I'm in a salon. I'm in the salon right now.
Wow. I love
Yeah.
it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
All right. So then I'm just going to jump into some things. So what moved you to create a Black Lives Matter chapter in June of 2020? We know that the nation had just watched what happened to George Floyd,
Right.
but the whole world saw it, but not everyone moved to action. So what moved you to action? Because I see that as sort of being the launching pad for what has become your political career aspiration. So what moved you to create a chapter?
Well, okay, so
Or whether it was a chapter or an event, what moved you to
well,
create that,
to
do that?
create the event. So right when George passed away, like you said, the whole world was just going crazy. It was like a revolution was going on. And I was watching the news, and usually I really don't watch TV. If it's not about the news or something, real, a documentary, I am not watching it. So I was watching the news, and I seen a nearby town called Lynchburg, which is predominantly white. They had a peaceful protest for Black Lives Matter, and I was like, wow. Well, excuse me, it wasn't for Black Lives Matter. It was for George Floyd, and it touched my heart because it was majority white people. Actually, it was all white people. It was no blacks at all.
Sure.
So I'm in Lynchburg, which is like 45 minutes down the road.
Sure.
So I said to myself, shoot, I want to have a protest too. So I called on my cousin. It was late now. I called on my cousin. Her name is Katasha Poindexter. And I'm like, hey, cuz, let's have a protest, girl. Like things going crazy. Lynchburg just had one, and it was peaceful. It was beautiful. We should have one here. And I ain't gonna lie to you. She was like, hell no. She said no. She said no. She said, I'm not doing that, Bridgette. And I'm like, okay. And I have an attitude. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do it by myself then. I don't care if anybody comes or not. I want to, like, God has placed it on my heart to do this. I'm gonna do it. So I put a post on Facebook about it. And just instantly, just money just started coming in, like donations for the protest for Black Lives Matter. So I'm like, okay, cool. So the next morning after my cousin, because I'm trying to tell you, like when people see people doing something, it's like fire. Yes. Everybody wants to do it. So I started posting everybody that donated, and people wanted that recognition. So I'm like, I just kind of used it, like, okay, this person just donated. So then after that person donated, then it was more. So by the end of it, we almost literally, I believe we had like around $500. So my cousin, she calls me like, all right, Bridgette, I'm gonna help you do it. I'm like, all right, yeah, I thought so. So we, it was 4 days until June 3rd. The day before the protest, or the event, We had been pretty much making the signs. We supplied everything, like, we just got all this donation, so we bought
It's
everything.
incredible.
Yeah, we bought everything. So I'm like, we just want people to come and just make their own signs, and it was awesome. So while we were making our signs, the Rocky Mount police officers and the chief of police came and visited us in the park. Not announced. I mean, we didn't know they were coming, but they knew we was there because we posted on Facebook. So they just, they followed their clues and they met us there, and they wanted to make sure that we were going to be peaceful. So I tried to reassure them that we was going to be peaceful, and they was concerned about if anybody going to say F the police and all this stuff. And I assured them, like, if anything like that goes on, I will, personally, escort them off or shut it down, period. I will work with you all. So that was their biggest concern. So the next day, like I said, we thought we was going to have like 10 people to show up. No, sir. It was like 150 people throughout the day. We had a all day event. It was from 10 o'clock that morning to about 8 o'clock that evening.
Was it a mixed audience, or was it mainly black?
It was mixed. It was black. It was white. It was Asians, Hispanics, old people.
Wow.
We had somebody that marched in the Martin Luther King walk. I forgot that.
And they came.
Name. They came too. It was so many people that came. I mean, the oldest person there was like 92. It was so many people. It was crazy. We started off in the yard of the courthouse because we have a statue, a hideous statue there that is just ugly. The representation of it is ugly, and we don't feel
just Confederate general, right? It's an
unknown soldier. It's an unknown soldier. So it's right there. So that's where we started at, and we had officers to speak. We had people to speak, just telling their experience. Sure. We had gay men to speak, especially gay Black men, because they are even more of a target. So we had a guy to speak that touched everyone. We had some ex-convicts to speak, and then from there. Oh, I forgot to tell you this part. As soon as we stepped out there, like it wasn't even 5 minutes, somebody rode by, a white man rode by, was like, you're disrespecting our statue. F you. And so I don't know, something in my mind was just like, tell me you love them. And I'm like, what? So I did. I'm like, I love you. And I turned to the crowd because everybody's watching me. People watch me. So you know what? Right. Anytime someone says something that is disrespectful or mean, just tell them that you love them. Period. Just leave it at that. Because at the end of the day, they're going to think about us. And they're going to think about the nasty things that they said to us. But then we turn around, we told them that we love them. Yes. So we're going to flip it on powerful. Them. You're going to think about me at night. This black chocolate woman, you're going to think about me, baby.
That's right. That's right. Because they're trying to cite some reactions so that they could say she's unruly, she's calling names, she's cussing out people that are driving by. Right. And so
I love you.
You send that back. Come on now, that's out of the Bible. It's like putting heat and coal, hot coals on people's head when you return love for evil. So
exactly.
That is powerful.
So from there, we did a 9-minute tribute to George Floyd. We laid on the ground. It was hot too. I was fried like an egg. I had to flip over a couple of times. That was a long time.
Like, I'm cooking.
Man.
I
actually found the video last night of me. I found the video on Instagram of our first protest, and I was laying down. First, I was on a knee. My knees got tired, so then I laid down on my stomach.
Because you didn't have one of them church pillows. Because you got to put them pillows down. You're gonna be on them knees for a while. Them kneeling pillows. Wow.
See, then I had an afro. My hair was really big. I just recently locked my hair up, so my hair was really big. So I had a pillow I could lay on. But from there, we got up, and then we marched down to the farmers market where everyone in town could be able to see us. So just doing that, from being at the courthouse and marching down to the farmers market, which is probably like a minute or so down the street. That was big for Franklin County. We have never had anything like that besides one of those, the Christmas parades that we usually have during, December. That's the
Right.
only time you'll see people on the streets walking. It's something, doing something like that. But to have a protest, no. We were absolutely the first to have one like that. Now there were, a few little people doing little, here and there protests, but it didn't make any noise like how ours did. Like we shook Franklin County, and that was like one of the first things I said to a reporter, is that I wanted to shake the hate out of Franklin County, and I wanted to shine a light on how we feel. They don't care to listen at all, and we have tried so many times to compromise and to tell them how we feel. I mean, even some of the Black people that are in, that are in good, they just complacent. They just do whatever they're told to do.
Sure.
That Fiddler type mentality.
Right.
So yeah, it was amazing. I can go on and on about it, but the officers that you were talking about earlier, they were actually there. So that's why it hurts. It hurt the most, because that day, if you go back and watch some of our videos, and I can forward you some of the links, you would see the love that at least I had. We was all doing the electric slide with the police. I didn't even know they could even get down like that. They was getting down with us.
They were on beat too. They were on beat.
I mean, they were on beat. They did the little scuffle.
Oh no, they didn't.
And they kicked.
The little,
yeah,
no,
they
no,
did.
not the kick, not the little kick.
They did it. Man, I gotta show you the video.
And they were holding up.
Kick.
I know
they did.
The Washington Post said that they were holding up signs that said silence is violence and no justice, no peace. They were holding it up. So then, when you got a picture on your phone from the insurrection event on January 6th, and you recognize the two officers, what were your initial feelings?
Oh, it was like, oh hell no. I snapped.
And you recognized them right away. Was there any doubt that that was them?
No doubt.
You snapped.
I did. Well, first it was like, okay, is this what I'm really seeing right now? So, I went back, I looked at our pictures. I'm like, hold on, let me go back and look at these pictures. Hold on, wait a minute. They were there from day one. Right. From day one, I thought they were my friends, honestly. When we left that day from the first protest, it was like we had a different bond with our police officers here.
Of course.
I really felt we were an example of how a community should come together and be, especially during that time with George Floyd and all the, not just him, it's been hundreds that it's just his was like his was the camel that was what they say, the straw that broke the camel's back.
That broke the camel's back.
That part. It was him calling out for his mama for me. Seriously.
Yes.
So we left that day thinking that they were our friends. I mean, we were calling them. They even allowed my cousin to drive off with bad tags. You know what I'm saying? Like we thought that we had a friend in our police department and that they understood. We had conversations about it. We did. I mean, it was not like they were just there and they were just, making sure that we didn't do anything violent. We were actually talking. I mean, they brought Happy Meals for the kids. They brought us water. I mean, like I said, it's so many videos of us dancing. Hell, I was twerking on one of the police officers. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You did. Wait. That picture gonna come back out when you get elected. That's gonna show up on.
Look, I always kept that video to myself because it was kind of like, okay, all right. But once that picture came out of the insurrection and them doing all of that, I posted that thing. I posted, and they made a meme out of it.
Did you say you was twerking up on one of them police officers? I love that. That is so.
It was the older one too.
Y'all are because Rosa Parks wouldn't have did that, but y'all are young, and that's not criticism. I'm just saying y'all will protest to a Black Lives Matter, but still will drop it when it's 106 outside and make some officer's day by twerking up on it because you made his day.
He asked for it, man. He asked for it. He did. Look, once you see it, I have forward all these videos to you. He even took his hand and did like that on the back of my head. Honey.
So he know about it. He know
knew.
about it. Right.
You
oh my
know
goodness,
what they
that
say.
was funny. Yes, yeah. You know them. Yeah, let me say, yes, ma'am. I'm right there
Once you
with
go
you.
black,
Yeah,
you never
you
go
don't
back.
never. No, so you done messed that man's life up.
And once you
done
go
messed
white, your credit is right. And ever since that day, my credit has been scraped. It's
It has
up.
been good. They cleared everything up.
It's
Oh
up.
my goodness. Now you know what's so interesting. That is so funny, Miss Craighead. When people start speaking up on trouble, we get called a hellraiser. Like I did an app. I posted a recent podcast where two white men were in my studios, challenging America's pushback on equality, and were saying what the struggle of white men were, and they were just speaking very honestly about how they've got to speak up more against racism. Well, I mean, people cussing me out, talking about me and stuff, saying that there's no racial strife until I bring it up. And I just asked, what history book are y'all reading? So none of this stuff existed. So you got some of the same stuff. You're in Virginia, and you got people saying that there was no racism until you start bringing it up. So you're the hellraiser because you're bringing up these men. This is a federal offense. Now, they were nice, holding up signs, bringing water, buying Happy Meals, getting twerked on. However, if you robbed a bank or did something that was illegal, they would have said, Ms. Craighead, this is not personal. We are sworn to uphold the law. You shouldn't have written this bad check. You should have done whatever. We're going to take you down and get your fingerprint. They would have done what's right. So why should you not bring to light that they illegally entered the Capitol? They're saying that they're innocent, and they're saying that some of the police officers are, just welcoming them in for water, whatnot. But if they weren't doing anything wrong, then the photos you posted shouldn't have been a problem. It's only a problem because nobody really knew, except their little secret society. Nobody really knew that they were inside that Capitol. So how is it that now you the troublemaker and the hellraiser because you post those pictures to your Facebook? What did that feel like?
Yeah, that was expected, honestly. Because they feel like they're right. They feel that the election was stolen, and they had their constitutional rights to go to the Capitol and stand up for what they believe in. And at this point, I don't mind being called a troublemaker because it's good trouble. It's good trouble. It's good trouble. So I'm cool with the labels. I'm cool with being a troublemaker, because at the end of the day, I know what the type of trouble that needs to be started, and that is good trouble. That's why I have masks that say good trouble, because that's what I am. I am a walking of good trouble. Period. So they have labeled me as a troublemaker here, and I know you've seen it in the Washington Post. That my business bully have said, racism wouldn't be here if Bridgette Craighead wouldn't speak about it, and I just I thought that was the most dumbest thing.
That's so ignorant.
Very ignorant, but I feel sorry for that man. I do. I feel bad that he does not see, or feel what we feel, and I can't help but to just keep on, shining light to it, so that one day he will understand.
Hi, this is Amy from Eugene, Oregon. I listen to Black Like Me because I want to hear different perspectives and push myself out of my comfort zone as a white person. I support the podcast as a Patreon because it's an awesome show, and I know it takes a ton of work and effort to make it all happen.
Hey, what's up, Black Like Me family? We are celebrating the 5th year of this award-winning podcast, Black Like Me. It now has a reach throughout the U.S. and in over 100 countries around the world. This podcast is changing the conversation about race in America. By going to patreon.com/Black Like Me and signing up at any of the levels offered, you are not only signing up to make a monthly donation, you are also helping to create better content and, more importantly, joining a growing community of people interested in engaging the issue of race with a raw, unprecedented honesty and creating a better society. And as a patron of the podcast, you'll have access to exclusive content like extended interviews, bonus rants, and video chats with Dr. G. You also have a chance to join the conversation that other patrons are already having with Dr. G about race in America. So to become a patron of the show, go to patreon.com/blacklikeMe or see the link in our show notes. And for as little as $2, you can support these important conversations and the work that Dr. G is doing. Thank you in advance.
You know what's so strange about the reaction of people? I just want to talk about this level of ignorance, and I'm not calling him dumb. I don't mean this in a pejorative way, like I'm name calling, but just in terms of blindness, just for not looking at the facts. So someone says to him, someone like Bailey, someone says to him the election was stolen, or 70 million people in this country, the election is stolen. They believe it, but yet history books have documented slave logs. The stories of the captains, of the white captains themselves, talking about black people jumping overboard because they didn't want to be enslaved. You know, insurance companies protected slave ships. We have documentation that this happened. These white folks, some of these white folks don't want to believe it. Somebody says, psst, this election was stolen, and they lost their minds and they believed it, but they don't believe history, textbooks. They're totally oblivious to documented facts. But all someone has to do is say that the election was stolen, and they believe it like it's holy scripture or something. That's just scary to me.
It is.
That someone could just feed white people this kind of garbage, and they believe it like they are defending God, or they're defending the true essence of this country. And that's frightening to me, because that means that the individual is not logical. And when you're not logical, you can be dangerous.
Exactly. I mean, that's part of the reason why we have all those statues. I mean, it's just a constant reminder that we have a superiority. How you say the word? Superiority.
Yes, superiority.
Yeah.
You said you got it exactly
over
right.
you. Yeah, and that's how
It's
I
to
feel.
remind us. Yes,
Every
it's to
day,
remind us,
every
particularly
day,
it's a
that
reminder.
they will rise again, or that, I mean, it's not even they will rise again. They it's here. They
will come
have,
back in power.
Exactly.
You know, I tell people, I used this example once, Miss Craighead. I said those statues are like scarecrows.
Mm-hmm.
They're stiff, but they're meant to tell the crows, not here, not here, not here. This land belongs to somebody else, not here. You can't come take this corn. That's a reminder left. It's littered our country on public property, on public governmental land. What other country would you build statues to your defeated enemies? The Confederacy was beaten fair and square in war, and we're going to still leave these images up. And the white people are saying, well, this is to remind us of our history. It's to remind us of our place,
right?
Which is their history of our place. And I think it's like that line from Arnold Schwarzenegger when he said, "I'll be back." I think that it's a way to say, all right, get your president, get your Oprah network, get your Michael, enjoy it. But we just want to remind you, when you come for justice, walk past this statue, because we want you to remember. We want you to remember we were strong then, we're strong now, we're coming back for our country. Because they see that it's getting browner, it's getting blacker, and they're reading the handwriting on the wall. And we're not going to do to white people what they've done to us. I mean, that's the big fear. Well, if you all were in control, you do the same thing. No, because it really grew out of a sense of superiority. It's not just because you're the majority doesn't mean that you think you're better.
Exactly.
I'm the majority in my business because I have seniority in the say so because I'm the CEO and the founder. But I also understand I can't run my company without my team and my workers. I can't do a podcast without Eli and without Jeremy editing. I understand that. What happened was folks were taught before even coming to America's shores that it was their religious duty. It was their patriotic duty to go and reclaim these foreign lands that were not committed to the church. So they landed on shores believing they deserve this land more than the Native Americans who were here. We won't move into the majority thinking, being told for centuries we are better than everybody else, because that's not what our grandmamas and our grandfathers taught us. They taught us you just as good as anybody else, but they didn't teach us that you should subjugate other people because they don't deserve you, and so beat them, rape them, steal their children. That's not our worldview. So we're not going to do to them. So the fear that I think white people, white men in leadership, in governmental leadership, are afraid of is that we're going to do to them when they did to us. And I'm just saying, for most Black people, that ain't in us.
It's not. It's definitely not. And that's what the whole BLM, I love this meme where it's like it has all the different color fists, white, yellow, dark brown,
Yes.
all the fists
Yes.
up.
Yes.
And it has, what we don't mean is that, Black lives being above every other lives, but we just
Right.
want to be equal. We just want to have the same, that part.
That's it.
Yeah.
I love it. So where in this process, Miss Craighead, did you think? I love the quote. It said, let me see. Let me find this. You said at some point you realized that just protesting ain't gonna get it.
Yeah.
So tell me about the moment where you just said, "Doggone it, I'm gonna run against what's his name, Poindexter."
Yes.
Now I noticed he got the same last name as your cousin. We don't have enough time to talk about U.S. history.
Ain't that crazy?
Okay.
Hold on, honey. Okay, don't get me started. We can go down that rabbit hole.
I've already met my white relatives named G and found a plantation in Mississippi and connect with my white cousins regularly. One of them is a pastor. So we're trying to figure out how we can clean this mess up. So as soon as you said a few minutes ago that you called your cousin and her last name was Poindexter, I thought,
It's
challenging
funny.
Charles Poindexter.
I found some white Craigheads too.
Yes, you did.
On
that
the
ain't
West
West
Coast.
African. Come on, that ain't West African. Craighead is that has European ancestry in it. And so what was the moment? Tell me about the moment.
Okay,
you got the aha.
That aha moment came when November referendum for the statue that happened, and pretty much we got blown out the water. It was 70-30.
So let me just say this for a moment. You first of all pushed the school board to put a ban on wearing Confederate flags as clothing. So y'all were able to push that through at the school board, but the county was also facing a referendum about whether or not they wanted the Confederate statues to come down.
Yes,
so you all got one victory.
We did, and honestly, I know the people that was behind that, so I can't take credit for that.
Okay.
That was definitely Mrs. Penny Blue. I
read about her. Yes.
Yeah, she's on the school board. That was her, and also my good friend Stephen Kaplan. He was, one of the white men that was there. Like, oh no, this ain't right. This is what it is.
Right.
That made me love him even more. Once I heard that he was already involved with stuff like that, but we did use that momentum, like, okay, well, we got that going on. So let's hit this. So for weeks, for months, it was a group of us going to the board of supervisors meeting, telling them how the statue makes Black people feel, the history of it, and everything. I mean, we was talking until we were literally blue and pale in the face. They only give us 3 minutes to speak. So it's like after the 3 minutes, that's it. They don't give you no response. They don't say anything. They say, okay, thank you, ma'am. Bye. So it was after the insurrection, we all went down to the board of supervisors to, pretty much see, even though they didn't have any jurisdictions into the town, we wanted to see what they felt about it. And it was some bull crap. It was like, I'm asking the Rocky Mount representative, what does he think about it, and how can he hold Rocky Mount Police Department accountable? And his response was, ma'am, that's not my jurisdiction. I believe in law. You're innocent until proven guilty. A whole bunch of BS. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run against this man. So at first, it was supposed to be Board of Supervisor Rocky Mount. And I was in this group, and like I said, in groups sometimes, things just don't work out.
Right.
And some things didn't work out, and I literally, I'm a firm believer, in talking to God, talking to your ancestors. Sure. So I said, God, if you want me to be in an elected position, please put me with the people that can make this happen. And literally maybe a day later, I get a call from a man named Dr. Fergie Reed. He heard about me through, friends and reading about me. And he was like, he told me about our incumbent that we had. And I didn't even know this man. I never knew who
Sure.
Charles Poindexter was ever.
Mhm.
And I'm 30 years old, and he has been in office for over half of my life, but for 14 years.
Wow.
And I never knew him. So
And no one's running against him. No one's been running against this.
Only
incumbent.
a few. It's only 3 people in the last 14 years have ran against them.
I wrote this quote down from you. Hold on. What did you say? You said uncontested incumbency
is un-American.
That's right. Hold on. I got to say that again. Uncontested incumbency is what?
Un-American.
Un-American. I loved that quote. I wrote that down when I read it. So you decided to go against this guy. He's Republican. He's been unopposed. And then you ask yourself, what has he done for me? What has he done for Brunson?
I did. What have he done for people, period? Not only just Black people, for people, period.
Exactly. Where you been? What you up to? What you doing? Okay.
He's into farming.
And he was an engineer too, I think. I think I read he was a retired engineer.
And not saying he didn't do good things, that we definitely need a flourishing farms to,
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. So, but however, not everybody works on a farm. Not everybody, has the luxury to have a car even. It's a lot of things that we need here. Like, I've been struggling for a long time, sir. Where have you been?
Right.
So,
right. No, that's a great question.
So once I heard that story, I just had that attitude like, well, if nobody's gonna run, then I'll do it. And no, I don't have a political science degree. I've never really been into politics. I'm a cosmetologist now. I can show you how to do some braids and, like you said, do a bump and curl, a little fried, dilate to the side thing.
Come on, yes.
But as for being involved in this is something like I would never thought I would ever be involved in. But like you said before, protesting is just not enough. And I've heard this so many times, and especially in the Black community. Oh, well, you're protesting, and then what? So I'm okay. Well, this is what we have to do. We have to sit at the table. I want to be at that table. I'm pulling up a chair, and I want to sit. I want to help write down any laws that we can do to make our people's life better. Period.
I love it. That's bold. That's very American. It's doing more than just talking about the problem. I love it. I read a quote, Miss Craighead, where an elder in your community said that he heard rumors that Black kids might start being harmed or snatched up if things didn't get quiet. Now, is that rumor, has that been sustained? Is there real concern? Can you address that? Of whether or not it was said, or
I do remember. I did remember
people
hearing,
do fear that.
Yeah, well, our older generation do. They do, because I have to like this the other day I was talking to a queen that she just loves me to death, and I love her too. And the people that she has talked to, they do feel like I'm making too much noise, or if I don't settle down, something could happen to me. Right. But in all reality, this is Klan's country. We have KKK right down the road.
Like, it's real. Like, this is not.
It's real.
Not a movie. This is not a PBS. Real. This is not Netflix.
This is what the movies is based about. It's us. Places like not just us, just rural America, like rural Virginia, places like this. This is what's real. We have the KKK in our backyards. Literally, it's places that we can't go here. I will call it out. Endicott. Look it up. ENDICOTT.
TT.
Yeah, Endicott. We don't go there.
You don't go there.
That's why I will tell you this quick little story. I was working as a customer service representative at what's it called? Rent-A-Center. And I took a mattress down to Endicott. I was already scared to go. But I didn't want to show that I was scared. So I'm like, all right, no, I'll do it. I went. So when I went, luckily it was someone I went to school with, but you can tell that life has hit her because we both the same age, but she don't look like me. I'm just gonna say that, you know what I'm saying? She was looking kind of rough. But I carried the mattress in her house, and on her one of the doors, it said, "No niggers allowed." Straight up, it said
Right?
that.
Unless they're delivering the mattress.
Oh yeah, that part. And she looked at me, and like her mouth was like, "I'm so sorry." I said, "This is your house."
Mm.
And
I'm getting out of it.
And I'm getting the heck up out of here. Honey, I got out of that van so fast. I had it on 2 wheels. I was gone. And I never went back. Never went back.
See, people need to know this is real. And let me just say this message to my friends, to my supporters of Black Like Me. This isn't just a sentiment in places in Virginia where they have the sign. This is why when Black people say, "I felt something," or they look at me funny, or I feel like people are following me. This woman that Miss Craighead is talking about just had the sticker on the door. That attitude does not exist just where there's the sticker. And it's not just in the South. And so I want you to understand that this has never left. It's not that it's being stirred up. Trump did bring this stuff back, and Miss Craighead is not stirring it up. I'm not stirring it up with what I'm doing in Madison. This stuff has never left. She can't say it because she's campaigning. I will. This shit has never left. And so she's expected as a woman to get in her van, go drive for work and deliver stuff, knowing that this is what's going on inside these homes. And then folks are wondering why we have stress and what we mean from microaggressions. You don't need a sticker to pick up what's weird. And I bet you Ms. Craighead would tell you that before she saw the sticker, something didn't feel right. And she probably saw the sticker and said, that's what it was. She probably picked up on something. So I want you to understand, Black people are very intuitive. It's how we get around, because white folks don't always tell the truth. And so we have to be able to feel things around what we call our spirit. We got to figure stuff out. So I just want y'all to understand, this is not a Virginian thing. This stuff is real. I don't care where you go in the country. And that lady whose house she went into, she either has or is going to have some children. She's going to teach somebody in Sunday school. She's going to go and talk to somebody at the store. When people are filled with hate, they don't keep it to themselves. And so when we're in this work of uprooting this garbage, white people, you got to join in on the fight too. Black people can't endure it and then figure it out and then fight it. At some point, white people, it is your job. It is incumbent upon you to clean up the shit that folks like you have made and created. You can't heap this on our backs and then wonder why we're getting COVID and dementia. It's because we navigate this stuff on the regular. And I appreciate the fact that Ms. Craighead, you called it out, because this is what we deal with. And we're still successful. And you still run a beauty salon, and you still running for the Virginia House of Delegates, and you still got a white campaign manager, and you still handling your business, raising a great son. In spite of all of these things, we've got to still be excellent. So when we tired or say we don't want to deal with stuff, our white friends and those of you who want to be advocates, you got to understand what your responsibility is before we get in the room. Don't just clean stuff up because we are there. If you know this stuff is going on, this stuff is happening, call it out and talk about it. But let's not act like it's not there.
That's having integrity.
I got on that soapbox.
No, that's fine.
I got on that soapbox.
It's two things I want to hit, what you just said. It's funny that you talk about our spirit, because I'm always telling Steven about my spirit. And he has learned. No, he has learned to listen to me when I say my spirit has said something.
Come on now. My staff is white. I tell them. And listen, and Steven, if you can hear me, Mr. Kaplan, if you ever someplace campaigning and Miss Craighead just takes off running, don't ask why. Right. Don't say freaking A. Just take off following her. She'll explain it later. But if y'all ever someplace and she's dressed up real cute and she just takes off running, you take off in that same direction. I'm just trying to tell you.
He will.
Heard. Yeah.
Because we have to pick up on that stuff, because it's there. And if we didn't, it would destroy us.
And me as a kind of a hobbyist scientist, that is evolution at work there. I listen to her spirit. That's how y'all got to where we are now.
That's right, sir.
And that kind of situational awareness and alertness, I feel bad, but I'm glad y'all got it, because I definitely listened to hers.
I love it. I love that, Mr. Kaplan. Ms. Craighead, you said there was two things. One was listen to your spirit.
That part. And then because like I said, I have way more white supporters I have Black supporters now, but in the beginning, it was just strictly, it was all white supporters. Because, Black people,
I can
we
relate.
we have a hard time trusting us because we know stuff has never got done with us. So, what I always tell my white supporters is, they always ask, what can I do? Well, I need you to hold your people accountable. I need you to speak up. Speak up when I'm not around. Have integrity, doing the right thing when no one is looking.
Yes.
So if your white great granddaddy is dropping the N-bomb, you correct him. If you see someone, if you see Sally at the workplace narking on Lakeisha because she's on her phone, and Lakeisha just checking on her kids, man, call that woman out. Just take this.
Yes.
Literally, just stand up for what is right. Don't, when you see something that is not right, don't just not say nothing, because you're condoning it.
You sure are. I love it. I love it. No, that is powerful. When's the election, Miss Craighead?
November 2nd.
So it's okay. So that's coming up in just a few months.
Can I have you seen my my website?
No. You know what? Make sure. Please, you can say
y'all
it,
please go. Yes, y'all please go look at my website. We just launched a new one, but it's www.bridgettefordelegate.com, and that's BRIDGETTEFORDELEGATE.com. And look, you gotta look at my side. I got cheetah print in the sun, the blue mountains,
and the blue mountains.
Oh yeah. Yes,
definitely. Listen, my team has already written me a note saying they got it and they're putting it on notes, and so we're gonna be pushing it out there.
Thank you so much.
What's the first thing you want to work on? You'd love to work on when you get there. I know that that's not up to you because there's an agenda and a docket.
Well,
but just in terms of what's in your heart, and everybody knows that racial equality is going to be big and important to you. But I'm curious, that in what other things are you thinking of as a lifelong Virginian that you would love to have focused on? Or love to focus on?
It's a lot of things I want to focus on. My campaign is pretty much uplifting our business owners, small business owners.
I love it. That gives you authority because you're a small business owner.
Yeah, higher pay for teachers and security for them. Broadband, transit solutions. What else?
Well, you find for good stuff. So if folks don't vote for you, they either want Poindexter to stay up there or they're going to vote against you because you're Black. Now, what I love about what the brilliance of your campaign is that you're doing stuff that's all good. It's like President Barack Obama had to be everybody's president, because people think when we come into office, all we do is to look out for our people.
No,
as if Poindexter is not looking out for his people. So
he's not looking out for. Well, he's looking out for his people within his tax bracket. He's not even looking out for his people that don't have his money. I want to be a voice for everyone. For the Republicans, for the independents, for the Democrats, for the rich, for the poor. I mean, definitely I want to uplift the poor, because I've been
of
poor.
Course.
I want to be that person, that a little Black girl, like, you know what? I know Bridgette. Bridgette lived right on Windy Lane with me. She used to do my hair for back to school. I want that little girl to look at me like, you know what? If Bridgette can do it, I can do it too.
I love it. I love the phrase "common ground" to unite. That you're interested in the common ground because you want,
and it has to be love. That love is where we need to find that love, because love and respect goes hand to hand.
I love it.
Oh yeah, and to end the division. I mean, because we all come from the same God. If they believe in God like how we believe in God, then they know that we are part of their body. It's we are the same.
Right.
So you saying something bad about me, it's a reflection of you, boo.
Right.
Period.
I want that on a bumper sticker. It's a reflection on you, boo. You gotta get that made into I will say you are moving stuff along. Those two officers, they're 2 of 5 sworn law officers that the U.S. Attorney's Office is prosecuting currently. So they were on paid leave for about a week or so, but they've been terminated. They're both in the military. And I know your neighbor, I'm not going to say his name again on my show, but I think he's an auto dealer or something. Your neighbor is talking about they're just family members. You should just mind your own business. But yet, if you had been seen, let's just be honest, if you had been seen at a rally that was meant to be peaceful, and let's just say it went the wrong way and stuff
Right.
started getting burned down and stuff, and you standing there with your clenched fist like you were at your Juneteenth rally, they would have been picketing 1111 Beauty Salon. They would have been in front of your place. They would say, she's a Marxist. She's not American. She's a communist. They would be bringing you down. But when you just show a picture, you didn't say that they were guilty. You're not a jury. You just said, here's some pictures. Let's let the U.S. Attorney's Office determine. But you can't even show what's going on. But they would want you to turn in some black folks. If you saw somebody robbing his car dealership, if you saw somebody doing something, they'd want you to speak up, but not doing it here. And so I just want to let you know your voice is already making waves. And for folks who are wondering, where are the younger leaders? They're doing a number of things. First of all, you're a leader because you're running your own business. A young sister, a brilliant sister, you're doing something that's giving your son an idea that Black people are supposed to own businesses. Like, this is not unique. This is just what we do. But the fact that you're taking what you're already practicing on a whole nother level, you're managing a budget, just put a couple of more zeros behind it. That's what you do at the House of Delegates. You understand managing staff, you understand clientele and listening to people. This burned when you did it, or this made my hair. You're listening. You've already got the skills. You don't need me to tell you this. Your folks are already telling you this, but never doubt your ability to step into this space. There's a few new rules that you got to learn, but the skills that it takes to hang out at your state capitol, you've already got it. And pressure because you're raising a young Black boy in America today.
By myself.
By yourself. So you got the qualification.
I want to encourage people, anybody that's listening to this, please, don't feel like that you can't do this. Do not. I mean, like I said, I come from a place in Rocky Mount will be considered the ghetto. It's based on income. I mean, it's the type of, your neighbors coming knocking on your door at 9 o'clock in the morning asking for sugar and milk. I grew up in the gutter. I never went to a real school. I went to cosmetology school. I take that back. I wanted to be a RN at first because I love people. I like to, especially my elder people. I love to just groom them and just show them love. And I decided to do a CNA program just to see, if I like it.
Sure.
I completed a CNA program. But immediately after I finished, it was like hair took over my life. I was doing hair all day, and then I go to my night job and try to take care of a patient, and shoot, I will fall asleep on him. I'll wake up, he's in somebody else's room, or he's looking over top of me, and you can keep standing on top of me, and I get hit. So I had to choose. Yes. I had to choose. God just like, what, Bridgette, you need to just do hair. And just watch me take you places. And that's what I did. I had a back to school little marathon, I guess you would call it, because I did like 30 little girls' heads. Like literally, they was in my house from sun up to sundown. And I remember making like maybe $1,200. I'm like, oh my God, I got scared. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I need to go to school. I need to figure out how I could turn this into a career. So I went to one school and it was Black owned. I had a choice to do a Black owned or a white owned. Sure. And I chose the Black owned because I thought us would have did us a little bit better. And I felt like I would have learned something that the white schools couldn't teach me. Well, I learned that the Black schools were still trying to, develop themselves, but they lied to me. And I wasted a lot of time and money doing that. So instead of, getting into a depressed mode and I'm wasting my time. Right. I just kept going. I'm like, you know what? All right, 800 hours is gone. Let me just go ahead and start over. So I had to go to Paul Mitchell, the school in Roanoke, and start over 1,500 hours. So 1,500 hours. And when I went to that school, I just soared. I mean, I'm not even trying to brag or boast, but I am like the number one student out of 6 schools in the East Coast, and I've been chosen to do a bigger videography after my election. I didn't even tell Stephen that. I forgot to tell him that. But they love me. They are the reason why I even had a taste of the Capitol, because we went to the Capitol to fight for education rights, because the big corporations were trying to persuade our legislation that we didn't need extra 500 hours for school, and that's not true. Like I've been through this school thing for a long time, so I knew like 1,500 hours, that's not even enough. I feel like a person needs at least 2,500 hours to learn everything about hair, because you just can't just go do hair,
Right,
on a
right.
person. So that was my first taste of blood. I went up to the Capitol, and I can show you that video too. I said what I had to
Yes.
say, and at the end, the I think his name was Chris Hurst. He asked me a question. He was like, "So, Miss Craighead, you don't want to be a cosmetologist?" No, he said, "You don't want to be a hairstylist." I said, "Sir, actually, I want to be a master cosmetologist, because I can do your hair, Simon's hair.
Yes.
I could do it all." And by me doing that, because that room is like an ice cold room. You're not laughing. You're not, joking. You're
Right.
saying what you want and you moving on. But for me to have the whole assembly to laugh, I was on their Twitter that night. I went viral in the hair world. I went viral. The leaders of Paul Mitchell know who I am. It was just so many people calling me a hair activist, education activist. So it
I love
started
it.
there. And then from there it just went up.
Wow.
And so yeah.
No. I love your drive and that energy and your vision. And I want to close out with the quote I read. This is also from the Washington Post article that just said, I want to make sure that laws are for everyone, not for the benefit of some people and the suppression of others. I want to make sure that they are fair for my son. That at the end of the day, you want, because you deserve a fair place for your son to live. You've
Yes.
worked hard, your folks have worked hard, our people have worked hard, and we deserve to have this, as well.
Yes. He's
Um,
my why. He's the reason why I'm doing this. He's the reason
definitely.
why I completed cosmetology school. He's the reason why I started, these events, trying to bring the community together, trying
He's your
to
motivation.
fight the systemic racism that has been, a part of our system forever. This is for him, because when I
Yes.
leave here, I want
Yes.
to I want to know that he has a fair shot at life, that he can, own a home, he can own his
Yes,
own
he can.
business. He, and when he gets pulled over for a traffic violation, he's not going to just die because he reached over to get his wallet. That
Right.
officer will have respect
Right.
and understand, this man is just reaching for his wallet. Let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
Yes.
I
I
just
love
want
it.
it to be fair for my baby and for other babies.
Definitely.
I'm fighting this
Definitely.
this is for every Black man, Black woman out here that can hear my voice. This is for them.
Yes, it
I know
is.
I'm that
Yes, it is.
sacrifice, and it's okay.
I want to tell you that there are things my mother did in moving from Chicago to Wisconsin so that she could go to college. My mom dropped out of high school her freshman year, but got an graduate degree. She has dementia today. We spent the day yesterday driving around and taking her out for a walk and stuff. But what's motivating me to do the things that I'm doing is that I watched the sacrifices my mother made when I was a little boy. I watched her brilliance to take on things that were difficult, that were unfounded, and she didn't have a whole lot of role models. And so I'm just representing a voice of the Bronsons of the world 50 years later, saying thank you to our mothers who did what they did to help us, because we do watch, we do learn, we do mimic, and we do succeed. So whether or not mothers are around to see it or even remember it, my job is to remind my mom, and for me to remember I am who I am because of the great things she's done for me. And so I want to thank you for Bronson in advance, because what you're doing will change lives and it will benefit
Thank
him
you.
too, Miss Craighead.
Thank you.
It will. I'm so glad that you are on here. I am so proud to connect with you.
I am too.
I want people all over this nation and world um, to hear this. And you all, this is not a political podcast, but I believe in supporting Black people. And listen, if you in this area and you need your hair done, listen, just because cost cutters don't know how to do Black hair and how to fade up and stuff doesn't mean that 1111 doesn't know how to take care of you. So you ain't got to be Black
Okay.
to walk up in there. That's why I like my barber.
Oh
My barber's
no.
Black, but everybody, all kinds of athletes, has a large male population, but Asian, Latino, Black, white, multiracial.
Yes.
We learn to be versatile. That's the thing about Black folks. We can cook for y'all and cook soul food. We can do your hair and ours. We can teach your children and ours.
Okay.
That's why y'all need to get more of us in position, because we have learned to take care of everybody. So listen, my special guest today has been Miss Craighead. She is running for the Virginia House of Delegates. She is a brave voice. She is doing a lot for 30-year-old, and she is wise enough to see that something has been ordering her footsteps, and she's making waves. And if I were Mr. Poindexter, I might step up my my political game or get somebody to help me run this, because this sister's not coming for him, because that's small fish. She's coming for the future. She's coming for equity. She's coming for what's right for everybody. And so so again, Ms. Craighead, thank you so much. I'm putting all the links to your work that's in here, and I hope that our paths allow us to cross.
Oh, we will. I'm coming. I'm pulling up on y'all.
I want you to. I want you to listen. Listen, Black Like Me family. As always, I want you to listen. I want you to learn something. I want you to share this. I want you to share this, because you all know people who you think should be considering political office. Share this with some comments. I want you to subscribe. I want you to share this, as I mentioned. I'm saying this again, and support. Click the link for Patreon. If you like Black Like Me, click the link so that you can support what I'm doing. And please, each of you, click on Miss Craighead's website, share it with friends. You don't have to live in Virginia to be a part of change. Some of you are thinking, how can we be about change? You can support our campaign.
Please.
And you can from anywhere in the country. They can accept money from anywhere in the country. And so let's just show our support for this sister who's bold enough to stand up against the threat of backlash to do what's right. So listen, you all, have a great day. It is my pleasure to bring these discussions to you. And like I told you at the top of the show, today's guest was not going to disappoint. So Black Like Me family, have a great week. And I look forward to being back with you next week. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Black Like Me. Black like.
This has been another exciting episode of Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G. Special shout out to Eli and to Jeremy, who are my engineers and my editors on this, to Don Thornton, who is my podcast manager, who makes sure that we line all of this up, to Corey Saffold, who is responsible for that exciting new jingle, that Black Like Me jingle. I'm so excited about that. And to vocals by Marcus Fleming.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. You can find out more about Dr. Alex G's amazing work at alexg.com. Black Like Me is sponsored by the generosity of the Human Family Unity Foundation.
Black Like Me.